Last week, U.S. Senator Darlene Graham struggled to answer a question about whether or not Taiwan and the South China Sea are vital U.S. national security interests.
I'm just going to be honest here. I'm not on national security. I'm not that informed on national security.
While she rightly got roasted for this, I think a lot of Americans couldn't answer this question. So I will answer for you why Taiwan is an important U.S. national security interest in under 3 minutes. Most of the time when people defend U.S. interests in Taiwan, they bring up semiconductors. Taiwan manufactures 99% of the most advanced semiconductors that power everything from your microwave to your cell phone to F-35 fighter planes. That's not the only reason Taiwan is important. In fact, the US threatened to go to nuclear war over Taiwan decades before the semiconductor industry even existed there. Back in 1958, the CCP began shelling Quemoy and Matsu, which are two tiny islands near mainland China but under the control of Taiwan, which the nationalist government of China, the Republic of China, had all fled to after losing the civil war to the CCP. So in response to this, the Eisenhower administration drew up plans to use tactical nuclear weapons against Beijing should they invade Taiwan. We're willing to target cities like Shanghai, even though the Joint Chiefs warned Eisenhower that if we went nuclear against the CCP, we would likely face nuclear retaliation by the Soviet Union. Thankfully, things never came to that point, but the plans were real. Declassified documents show just how close the US was to using nukes over Taiwan. Those threats were never just about Taiwan alone. Taiwan sits in the middle of what's called the First Island Chain. It's this containment strategy devised during the Korean War which has kept China's Navy boxed in since the Cold War. As long as Taiwan stays out of Beijing's hands, the PLA Navy has to pass through narrow, watched straits in order to access the open Pacific. If Taiwan falls, that chain will break. That would leave the US with two choices. We would either have to double, triple down on defensive commitments to our allies within this chain, like the Philippines and Japan, or we would have to retreat more from the Pacific. China would be free to roam with their nuclear-capable submarines, maybe anywhere in the world. If you want to avoid war, as I do with China, if they are able to have complete free and open access to the seas, that would make confrontations between the US and China more likely at sea, making the potential for war with them more common. Actually, if you want to avoid war, keeping the current containment strategy in place is important. And on top of those security concerns, which existed before the semiconductor industry, there is also obviously this economic one. Because if China invaded Taiwan, there would be a massive global chip shortage, and there already is one, but it would get 10 times worse if China were to invade Taiwan, because these fabs would likely be blown up. While TSMC is building fabs outside of Taiwan now, such as in Phoenix, Arizona, those factories are not making the most advanced chips. There's also still a shortage already. These new fabs are nowhere near replacing Taiwan's capacity. If anything, they're just adding to it, which is still important, but not enough. This is why under the new US National Defense Strategy, we are prioritizing the Pacific in addition to our hemisphere. Not only because we understand if the status quo here changes, we will be more vulnerable from a security perspective, also because we don't want there to be a global depression, which is what would happen if there was a major shortage of TSMC chips manufactured on Taiwan.